Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of WaddleArt. I am WaddleArt, aka Bailey, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing my very first art show that I had, which was WaddleArt's first real debut of just WaddleArt at a local fair called the Blue Water Fair in Port Huron, Michigan, where I was able to, for the very first time, show exactly what WaddleArt is and what WaddleArt does, as well as some background commentary from my birds, Cider and Charcoal. So you'll end up hearing them throughout the video. But what I learned from the show is that some venues are better for some art styles than others, as well as indoor versus outdoors, depending on what you sell, who actually likes what it is that you're doing, where you should and shouldn't be going when you have a certain type of art style, or wanting to have a certain audience that you're hitting, but the show you're going to doesn't really have that audience. As well as WaddleArt is an illustration and comic business. And I feel like I've ventured off way too much into more of the major products or making of things such as buttons and stickers and the bookmarks and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with them, but I've allowed myself to get way too intensely invested in those venues. And I'm going to be bringing that back. So I want to discuss a little bit about that today in this video, as well as I'm going to be going over a few other things. So hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy the journey with me. So let's get to waddling, shall we? I'm the wind. I'm the wind. I'm the wind. I'm also the wind. I'm the wind. I'm the wind. I'm the wind. I'm the wind. Hello, wind. I'm also the wind. I think it's good. Beginning on the journey of what WaddleArt needs to become, I definitely learned from these couple of fairs that I have partaken in that indoor-outdoor is important to know which one I'm going to be doing. Indoor is probably what I'm going to start doing from now on, unless the outdoor one is only for a day. That's something that I want to keep in mind. The ones where they're numerous days long, the weather here in Michigan changes so last minute that they could say you're going to get a sprinkle for 5 minutes and it turns into a full-on lightning and thunder and side winds and everything. I can't deal with that, especially as a paper-based artist. Definitely don't want to deal with any of that might destroy the art pieces that I've lovingly and dedicated so much time to be able to share with everybody. So definitely going to be changing that up. Additionally, WaddleArt itself is going to be moving more back to the roots of an illustration and comic art business. That isn't to say that I won't still do stickers or bookmarks from time to time, but the focus is prints, originals, traditional digital art, and comic art, because that's what WaddleArt was originally created to do and make. So I want to make sure that I get back to those roots because they're important to me, and I want to show you, my viewers, and those who come here for some story and some art and maybe even some art education and history, what it is that I make, how I make it, and I want to take you along for the ride. One of the things that also allowed me to realize that multi-day and uncertain weather is maybe a little dangerous. The second day out of the 3-day festival that I attended, it rained so bad that my canopy tent was not only flooding and pooling water on all 4 sides, but the holes that were sewn in to where certain places were for Velcro attachments were actually allowing water to come in at so many different spots into the underside of the canopy cover that we had to pack up, my husband and I, really quickly to make sure that nothing got wrecked. Some items, unfortunately, did get water on and in them, so they were not destroyed necessarily, but they definitely had their own problems and they weren't able to be salvaged. But I learned that the outdoor ones, they're probably not the best idea. Indoor, that's my bread and butter. So I'm going to start looking at those going forward. But I'll still do online. I'll still end up doing some outdoor ones. We'll see what ends up happening and go from there. One thing I will return to, which I've been going back and forth in my mind about doing or not, is I think I'm going to actually return to doing my Twitch streaming on a numerous days per week basis. I found that for a time, it just wasn't really something that I was meshing with too well, especially when you have a regular 9 to 5 and a house to maintain and other things you have to take care of. But where I am now in terms of my current life situation and events, I think that it may be something that I would be able to get back into pretty decently and be able to show more of the kind of art that makes me feel fantastic inside of my soul. And I want to be able to share with everybody again. I did have and still do have a lot of friends on Twitch, so I want to see about getting myself back on there and seeing what I can make and really shine on with. So I've decided to get myself my very first studio light, and it actually isn't super big, but holy goodness is it super bright. So in comparison, I have this bar light that I used to draw with, and you can see on this reflective piece how it reflects the watercolors really well on the light, but it doesn't give an all over nice bright white that I want when I want to do imagery for my site. So this light in front of the screen here, that looks really nice. So I'm hoping that this light will do the stuff that I need for it to do to have really nice photography for my site and for future art pieces too. Let's get creating more, shall we? So here's a print in a wrapper under the bar. You can see reflections. Here it is under the light. So you definitely see the light. But at angles you can also see some of the watercolor metallics too. But it's definitely not as sharp as the line. You can definitely see the difference. But I think it's going to be okay. One thing that I started learning from other artists online, particularly Catnip and Uncomfy and Prints by Millie, is that packaging can make a world of difference. I already knew this, but at the same time, when you're confronted with things directly to yourself face to face and you don't get to experience it yourself, you sometimes don't pick up on things. You just have to be kind of open to receiving, thinking about it, and understanding certain things when it comes to experiences. And I would say that this is one of them. My buttons originally had no packaging whatsoever, so I decided, you know what? Not only do I want packaging of some kind, but I want a way to be able to keep the buttons held up and off of the table. Because when everything is on the same plane, like the flat surface of a table at fairs, it gets kind of boring and monotonous to just look down at a table the whole time. People like the atmospheric look of something. They want to be able to, tilt their head back a little bit and side to side and see all the stuff that you have to offer. And just because it's a pin or a button doesn't mean it has to sit on the table. Have it be something that can be right at their eye level too, not just the prints. Buttons can also be something that really draws people in. It simply depends on how you want to go about it. I know personally going forward that I want to do quite a bit more with the packaging and the actual display of pieces. not just, oh, it's in a cello, it's got a very nice look to this print, or having my book just be on display as it is. I want them to be something that you look at and it looks like a gift that you could give yourself to, because sometimes it's good to treat yourself. So why not treat yourself to also something that is nicely packaged with a lot of love? So making these very simple but very nice hanging packaging items for my buttons really, really helped. At least for me, it definitely elevated being able to show people what I have on display. And I know that when I decide to go to my future shows, the same thing will be happening with my prints, because now I have some of those, I guess they're called grid cubes. So I've been utilizing that, with thanks to my husband helping me to kind of figure out how I want to go about displaying my stuff. But there's a lot that I still need to learn, and that's a journey that I'm very happy to start taking. And I hope that it's also a journey that you guys would enjoy being able to take along with me. So let's keep going. I figured that doing a button preparation and packaging for you in real time would actually be quite nice. So I want to thank you so much for watching this little video of my first experience at my very first fair, what I learned from it, and what it is that WaddleArt will be doing going forward. I do also know that my formats are a little bit all over the place. I am still learning video making, but it's definitely been an enjoyable ride so far. I would absolutely also love to hear from you, and if you have any comments or any questions, I would also love to be able to answer those for you as well. So until the next one, keep being fantastic, keep being creative and artsy, and keep waddling on. Bye for now, everyone, and see you in the next one.